game that is not being shown in the UK. Incredible, isn't it? Incredible. We had a little chat about. Well, you didn't really have a chat about this, so we might as well have a chat about it. The MLS stuff at the weekend.
Tremendous.
Which we both watched, and give us a little insight, maybe if where the Premier League hopefully will go one day. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the way they did it. Every game was on, and also the roundup show, which was good. As, you know, I think it's got a few little edges to smooth off. Definitely. In terms of how it does things, but I thought it was really good. It shows you how it can be done. And what I really liked about it was, and often there's been different talk about this, was over the night I think there was 10 different games on at different basically crossing over. There was one that was on earlier, but there was 10 games I think it was that were on. So there was always something to watch. And to me, you know, whether it was a massive game or it wasn't a massive game, obviously first day of the season was not always. It didn't really matter. It was like you've got all these games you've already paid for it, so you can watch what you want. They've all got commentary, they've all got co-commentary, they've all got build-up, they've all got stuff afterwards. And if you didn't want to watch one particular game, you could watch the 360 show, which is what I did, which was just giving you an overview and a little bit of insight into the different teams. And I think that one's brilliant for if you're a novice and you've just found the league, or you want a little bit of knowledge about who's gone where. If maybe you switched off for the close season. And to me, that's how the Premier League should be doing it, because, you know, someone actually put a tweet out about it, and someone went, oh yeah, well this is the way it's going, isn't it? I think they were actually American. They were like, wants another streaming service to buy. I was like, mate, I've got to buy 3 and they don't show all the games. So one that does show all the games would be brilliant, thanks very much. Because again tonight, there's 2 games. Liverpool playing Wolves for the 87th time. They play Wolves every week. And we're playing Arsenal. I mean, you can't watch either of them. And again, what the Premier League have done is created a black market. Yeah. And then you know, obviously then it allows them to put the prices up in this country. And it's a joke. And I know people out there who are watching in America and Australia and other places, they'll go, well, we've already got that. What's the big deal? We haven't. I've got to watch the game illegally tonight to literally do my job. So the resolution will be rubbish. It'll probably be slightly delayed. And yeah, so I can't sit there and watch a game of football in glorious HD, never mind 4K, because that's the archaic rules in this country are that I can't watch it. It's pathetic. Yeah. And I just thought the MLS stuff give it just a little bit of look into what we could have.
Brilliant.
Your thoughts on it, Baz?
I really enjoyed it. I watched DC United, so I watched that game, but I did keep flicking over and having a look at the 360 stuff, which was good. Obviously, because you can just go back and look at bits of it anyway on Apple. Looked at that, it was really good the way. I mean, we've got a similar thing, haven't we, on BT with the goals show for Europe, which is really good. Brilliant. And that's like
literally the best show on telly for me for footy.
And imagine if the Premier League, I know it might be different because they might, but imagine if that was the Premier League day and there was like 6-7 games on the day and you could just, like Everton were on or whatever, even if Everton weren't playing, but the goal goes in and you get to see them and the people in the studio were talking about it. It's like a souped up version of like what Jeff Stelling did and all that, didn't it?
Which is madly successful. Been going for like 25 years.
Whatever it is. So I think it was really good. I think I seen someone, and it might have been Derek, you must have been discussing the other day, and he was like, no, because I want it just where I just buy a season ticket for Everton. I understand that, and I used to think like that. I used to think, just give me, like, let me pay for every Everton game and I'll just have that. But if you're talking about making the clubs getting equal shares, if clubs got money just by who bought their games, we would be miles behind anyway, wouldn't we? Miles behind. We wouldn't be able to get near the likes of Liverpool and people like that because they're the biggest audience. So having a collective where you pay and then it's divvied out amongst the clubs works better for everyone.
Well, it works better for everybody, because the success of the Premier League is down to the shared asset. The reason why La Liga and Serie A are on their asses is because of the greed of the top clubs. And what's happened is, you know, what's simply happened is as the smaller clubs can't rise up, it means that the leagues themselves don't become good to watch. Therefore, less people pay for the rights. Where the Premier League's the best league in the world, simply because it trades on this idea that any team can beat any team on any given day, and that is true.
Yeah,
we proved that against Arsenal.
Yeah,
team who hadn't won for ages, just sacked the manager, plays Arsenal, high flying Arsenal, top of the league, and we beat them 1-0, and we beat them comfortably in a manner. And that's what the Premier League trades on. And if you suddenly got a situation where Everton had its own thing, then it wouldn't work. And what I would say to you, anyone, and Degs, if that's what you said, is that if Everton did it, Everton would probably charge exactly the same amount for just the Everton games as what the Premier League would charge for all of the games. Because ultimately the Premier League would be selling it to everybody. So they could go, yeah, it's 15 quid, 20 quid. I'd pay 20 quid a month for the Premier League. I know that's still probably a little bit more than other people paying for other leagues, but I'd pay £20, no problem, for just the Premier League. And you know that's getting shared out, and more people are buying that one product. Whereas if Everton said we are 15 quid, how many people are realistically paying for that? You know, I think, you know, it just wouldn't work on a team by team basis, and you know that. But I think on a league basis it would be massively successful, and I think if it was something that, for me, it's something that you start in this country and then you roll out to other countries, or you do what MLS did and you get someone like Apple on board to host it for you, and that might take a lot of the hard work and a lot of the strain out of it. But the Premier League, to be honest, they could probably at this point easily host it themselves, easily, because they've got, you know, when I was chatting the other day, someone was like, oh, they're going to lose that talent pool. I was like, what talent pool? Everyone who works for Sky or BT or whoever work for somebody else. You know, Shearer's on Match of the Day on a Saturday. He was on Amazon's coverage on the Arsenal game. All the trucks, Sky don't own any trucks. BT don't own any trucks. You know, all the trucks are a separate company. Yeah. That's all separate. And all the Premier League would need to do is just do what Apple have essentially done. Is gone round and cherry picked, or because what the Apple deal has done is it's took all the national broadcasters, but all the local broadcasters. So what they've done is they've gone round to. So Eric was telling me this about Kansas. He said because the guy at Kansas, who was the local broadcaster, was very nervous about it. Apple will give him a job because they're like, you're the guy on the ground.
Yeah, he's
like,
just the fella.
You're the guy with all the information. You'll become the comment. You're now the commentator.
Just the commentator,
because you already understand, and that's what they've done. They've gone round, cherry picked all the people, all the local people, give all the other people.
That's kind of how they did it, didn't it? It was like MLS anyway, because I've obviously we've been watching the league for. We've been watching the league for a while, and when you see like certain games, like I know like New England Revolution, like their games are Paul Mariner, who's sadly passed away now, but he was like their co-commentator, but it was the local fella. So every game that they were at home, it was basically like me and you commentating on Everton against someone. So if I was like a supporter of the opposition watching it, it was a very much a heavily influenced home commentary, but they did obviously praise the opposition as well, just not quite to the same level. So that's how they've done, because they have literally just had local people anyway. And you're right, just give them the jobs. Even on Saturday, I was watching DC. It was like quite obviously a DC United, more sway towards DC than it was for Toronto. That's
happening in every walk of life, though, because you're getting more and more of this stuff now, where like. I saw someone the other day about it, I think we were talking to Vitti and Andy Bush about it, because obviously they work in the radio world, and I was saying that we were talking about, or it might have been someone else, we were talking about like, I think we were talking about like what happened to like the Blue Room and stuff, and Radio City's coverage of like the Premier League and stuff, of Everton and Liverpool, and basically the club, like Bauer who owned it, basically were like, there's no money in this anymore, because you're covering these two clubs, no money in anymore. We were on City Talk. They moved City Talk to medium wave, swapped it over with another radio station, put that on FM, and then they like cherry picked all the best presenters from around the country. So we had Rossi, known Rossi for years, used to be Everton's announcer at the game. He was doing the breakfast show on like, it was like, what was it called, Magic or something, wasn't it, or whatever? Yeah. And he basically is the host for this radio station now. The next guy is in Birmingham, the next guy's in London, and they're all working from our radio station and creating this one radio station. And all they do is, what they're not allowed to do, and I actually spoke to Rossi about this, is he's like, it's weird, because I used to be like, oh, so-and-so from Old Swan's been on, and there's something, and you could now it's like very generic. Derek's been on, you never mention where Derek's from.
To be fair, Dave told us this when he come in, when he was based in Manchester, before he moved. He was like, it's changing, so we don't have any local people on anymore. It's just a caller from anywhere. And it's an all.
No, you're just taking all the assets and you're putting them all in a pot, and you're trying to make sure nobody notices, and it'll be the same with that. It might be, I don't know if it wouldn't be the same with the Premier League, because the country's not big enough for that kind of thing. But for me, I just see it as the future, and hopefully the next TV deal will do something about it, because everyone's fighting, by the way. I mean, I read a thing yesterday. Wrexham put a thing out saying about their trial period for memberships for people want to watch the games. And I know Ryan Reynolds and Rob McPartland have been fighting really hard for people to be able to watch the games abroad, because obviously they want to grow the American market, and the league, that National League, had been really resistant to and what happened was Ryan Reynolds, Wrexham and stuff, they basically said, we'll pay for it, we'll set it up, we'll send our cameramen down to our away games and film it, allow you to put it out at our cost, because we want to trial this thing. And they said they've made a really good fist of it, got so many memberships low, they've broke it all down, and they said basically it works. And the Nation League were like really resistant to that, and they were like, no, people want to watch this product abroad, they want to watch it in different places. So it's not just the Premier League, it's or the customers of the Premier League, it's at other levels where people are like, you know, because we've had this thing, haven't we, for years, obviously with our blackouts and stuff, and like, oh, it'll destroy the lower leagues. The lower leagues are flying, because people are so sick of Premier League football that they're going to watch. I think
it's a bit cheaper, and it's not more honest, isn't it? You build a team. Most teams have got similar amounts of money down there, so it is literally about how you use your resources the best way.
Except for Wrexham, of course.
Yeah, of course, but you know what I mean.
But they would have got another
10. Yeah, but look at them. I mean,
they've got another 10,000 last night.
They're battling with Notts County. Notts County don't have the resources Wrexham have got, but Notts County are ahead of them.
Fine.
Okay.
Wrexham are top.
Wrexham got even top, but I'm saying up until like the weekend, Notts County lost at home to Dagenham and Everton, and Wrexham won. You know, Notts County were the ones Wrexham are chasing again. You know, last season, Stockport County don't have anywhere near the budget Wrexham have got. Now, Stockport look like they might even go up against them League 2. I think they're third in League 2 at the moment. So, you know, it is, them leagues attract far more interest because it isn't a closed shop.
Yeah.
And that's where the Premier League, it will eat itself in the end. It already is to a certain extent. People, I know if you're one of the top clubs, you're not, but a lot of other people are like, is it really that good? Whereas I think you look at like the Championship and you look at like League 1 and League 2, those teams every season must think, if we get a good run, we might get a bit of success this season. You can't think that in the Premier League.
But no one's like sort of, it's not turning anyone away though, is it? That's the thing. It's keeping people there. And
well, I don't know, it's turning certain people away because, like we've just said, the gates at lower leagues are improving.
And I think there's a generation of footballers who are gone. Who I don't know. Maybe it's more to do with actually people are just sticking with their own teams now rather than going, I'm going to go to Anfield or whatever. I know earlier Liverpool was still trying to sell tickets for tonight's game.
No, do you?
So that's just the nature of basically where we are as a country at the moment. People are struggling and can't afford maybe to take a day off work and take the trip up and the price it costs for a Premier League game. But some people can. That opens the door to local people. And those people might have said, I can't go to Anfield this week, so I'll go to Wrexham because I actually live in Wrexham or whatever.
Well, Zach's asking me to take him to a game. You know, I'd love to go to a game. So, yeah, I will. Speak to Big Paul. See if we can, by the way, what's that? We've done to the ad there.
I have no idea. Davy Klassen?
He's gone full Davy Klassen. Or is it full Michalenko? Because obviously you've got to think.
Clearly never learned anything from an ear, did he?
No.
The lighting's shocking.
The screens are at an angle.
Everything's shocking. Yeah. And his head.
But I'm ahead. But anyway.
But What's mad is about what is absolutely mad about is though, how much must it be costing the Premier League, right, in lawyers and stuff to chase streamers, which could all be pretty much eliminated in one fell swoop of saying, yeah, there's an app.
Simon Jordan's been saying for about 3 years now, might even be longer, wherever he's been on TalkSport. Whether you like him or you don't like him, whether you think he's intelligent or he's a divvy, whatever. But he does know some business stuff, doesn't he, quite clearly. And he was doing basic sums and saying it creates 10 billion straight away. And yet the TV deals are like 5 billion most when you throw them all in a pot for the Premier League. So they'd be getting double what they're getting now for controlling everything themselves, which would be a better deal for the clubs as well. So obviously the clubs would want it because it's a bit more money. Why wouldn't you do it? So I don't know. And like you said, they've got the back catalogue. They could literally make it a Premier League TV and have the games on all week. The games from yesteryear on all week. And they've already got Premier League productions. Me and you've done stuff with Premier League productions quite often. They do it regularly with everybody, not just me and you. As in like all the teams and stuff. So there's quite clearly content going out everywhere.
If they charge £15 and you paid for it, let's say 12 months of the year, because most people probably wouldn't even cancel it, and you got 20 million people in this country, then that's 3.6 billion.
Like just from this country, and yet we know that it's overseas is where it's berserk. It's where it's berserk. You would do it. Of course they would. People would do it everywhere. They could make crazy money. The Premier League, really, crazy money. That would more than back them up. Pay all the equipment, do everything. It'd all be sorted. We've seen it when Amazon do it. Amazon have done it quite a few times now, haven't they? They've got, you go on, all the games are there, and you go from there with it. It's the same with the Optus thing that me and you watch, isn't it? You go on, and then all the games are there, and you just go, oh yeah, there's Everton. You click it on, and off you go. Now, that's how it should be. That when Everton are at home, I'm still going to match.
Yeah.
I'm not going, no, I'm not going to go because I can watch. Now, okay, some people might go, you know what, I actually can't afford a season ticket anymore, and I really want to watch Everton. I really want to watch Everton every game. So I'll buy this Premier League productions season ticket, whatever. Great. Because that means that the fella down the road who can't get a season ticket because he's on a waiting list for 10 years can go, actually, I'll have yours then if you can't go. That enables someone to go to the game. I'm just not having people turn around and go, well, no. And the reality is as well, let's remove the argument fully and put it in the bin, right? Because gate receipts are very little to football clubs anyway.
Very little.
Everton,
very little.
When there was COVID, Everton lost what was it, 14 million or 15 million in gate receipts. Everton get 130 million or something a season off the Premier League, right, at the current deal. So with a new deal, with more people involved, you would expect Everton's revenue from the Premier League to go up to, say, 200 million, just say for argument's sake, or 180 million or whatever. That more than covers Everton's gate receipts. More. So if we all turn around and we're not going anymore, we're just going to watch it at home, Everton wouldn't be anywhere off. They'd be better off with a new deal. So I think the time's come to be growing up about it now.
I just looked at some numbers there, right? So if 200 million people, if 80 million people around the world, that is, got it for 10 months of the year and paid 20 quid, you get 16 billion back, right? At the moment,
which triples what the
at the moment they're getting the clubs. This is what the clubs are getting. The clubs are getting 1.5 billion from this country and 1.3 billion from the rest of the world. So in a year that's 16 billion.
So they could reduce it even and play with the numbers, which is triple what they're getting now anyway, and it'd still be affordable for everybody. It doesn't make sense. And if the Premier League, see, this is where MLS have been really proactive. they have embraced it and gone, you know what, this is how football's going. Now, they're using Apple, which is clever as well, because Apple's a huge company and people have iPhones and Macs and iPads and Apple TV and everything else on your telly. Dead easy. It's dead simple. I've got it. In fact, I think I've probably still got the MLS app open. In fact, I have still got the MLS app open on my TV, on my laptop, but it's on your telly. So on Saturday, I just went, boom, and we were talking, weren't we, while the games were going, we were texting each other, going, and you were going, wow, what a shit, and I'm thinking, games you on about here, and all that, and that's how easy, it was just, I was sat on my couch, 12:30 on Saturday, 1 o'clock Saturday night, watching DC, but then Ped's going, penalty, and I'm like, quick, get to 360, what game is it, and it comes on, and you see it, and it's brilliant, it's absolutely brilliant, and that makes it more engaging, and what they should be looking at now is, we've spoke about this quite a lot. Kids have got so much other choice now. So much choice. When we were kids, there was like, we had computers, didn't we? We had like, you know, Commodore, Amigas and whatever. But footy was still a big thing. You went outside and all like, well now.
You went outside.
Well, you did. But if you look at it now, kids, there's less and less space for them to do stuff unless it's organised. And yet, it's like us, with the footy, like we coach the footy teams, like they really need to train twice a week, really. So we've got that Halewood round there, we go there, but I was looking at like The Simpsons, it's like 50 quid for an hour, and it's like that's £200 a month. So we can't ask the kids to pay anymore. They're already paying for subs and for the referees and all that. So So the three coaches do it. So for us, we're having to pay like 70 quid a month, 75, 80 quid each. It's extra just to get them an extra training session. Now, if that was 20 quid, you'd go, you know what? We'll book that. We'll all pay 20 quid and we'll get them a thing. So it's reducing the opportunity for those kids. And then they've got PlayStations and Xboxes. You've got, you know, YouTube and all. There's loads of things. There's too many things. So how do you get them? And then if you go, oh yeah, I want to take whoever the match. Say you want to take like Artie the match, and you go, hang on, can't get him a ticket.
He's got a season ticket.
I was just using them as a. No, when Zach has what I'm saying. If there's like another kid, I was going to use John Blaine's grand, but they've got season tickets as well. But if it's like another one, right, or someone from Artie's school, I'd love to take him the match as well with Artie. Can't get a ticket. So those kids going, well, hang on, I can't even go to the match. After a bit, it's like, just becomes a TV programme. And
I mean, it's interesting as well what format they do it in, because would the Premier League go, we're breaking every game up with its own thing. I actually liked the thing of watching, I know it's a different way of watching it, but you know, you're talking about like attracting kids. I love like the goal show.
That's the best way to watch.
My attention span with football now for a lot of things I just don't get held anymore, because there's so many distractions. You get pulled onto your phone or whatever, or you'll go, oh, you know what, I want to watch that YouTube video for 5 minutes that I forgot about, and you go down a rabbit hole, whatever. There's so many distractions, and that's why I actually enjoyed watching like the 360 show, which is a goal show, is because you're sitting here and there's a goal going in every 5 minutes.
Something's happening in each game, isn't it? And
you're keeping your attention, and they're breaking up in the meantime. And actually, what they did really well is they kept on changing the people, like the experts, and giving a fresh voice every now and again.
And changing the sets.
Changing the sets and understanding the power of keeping people interested in it. And for me, that for a young kid or kids growing up, I think that would work brilliantly, because it is that thing of like, something's happening all the time. Keep them interested, get them hooked, and then maybe they'll learn to appreciate, you know what, I want to watch that one team now because that's my team. And I think that really works, and I think that's what the challenge of the Premier League, because I think what the Premier League could do is go, we want separate kickoffs, where I actually think having a bank of games actually would probably work much better, because you've already paid your money. So what difference does it make? You might as well have a bank of 5 or 6 games.
We've got that now, haven't you?
On one day, and then 5 and or have you one standout game of the weekend that it's its own
make
thing,
a big thing over
its own thing on a Sunday afternoon. But before that, you have a couple of banks of matches.
Well, look at the weekend. This weekend, like Everton are on at 2, and then Liverpool United are on at 4:30. There's games on Saturday, and there's a Monday night game, right? So. You could keep all of that format if you really wanted, and just went, well, Well, nothing really changing. Only people have got access
but
to all of those games.
Imagine you didn't change it round, because this is another thing that could win people over massively, right? Imagine if you went at the beginning of the season, these are the fixtures, and you're playing on a Saturday, you're playing on a Sunday, and we'll pick all the big. We'll go on a monthly basis where we pick one game and give it its own time slot on that day. So Saturday, all the games. Let's say all the games are now 5 o'clock. Let's just say, just because of the world, right? And you say one of those games will be a 7:30 kickoff. The
standout.
Just a Saturday game, and the Sunday game is exactly the same thing. You have all your Sunday games, and one of them goes from being a 4 o'clock or a 5 o'clock kickoff to suddenly becoming a. So let's say 4 o'clock, and let's say 7 o'clock, and suddenly, right? If I'm a fan, I don't have that thing of like I'm making a trip over to watch Everton or watch whoever, and the game's on a Sunday, and then they go, no mate, it's now on a Friday night or whatever. Suddenly everyone goes, brilliant. You get rid of that thing of you changing the times all the time. Only once in a while do you have your game changed, and all it'll ever be is 3 hours in the full.
Yeah, it should never be a different day.
It'll be the same day, and you'll never have to change that. And honestly, could you imagine that as well? For thinking people would be happier. You wouldn't be going, oh, it's going to be a so-and-so time at this. How am I going to get to them? Everyone would know at the beginning of the season you're playing either Saturday or you're playing Sunday, and that's the end of it.
But do you get rid of like Monday nights?
Yeah, massively. Because why do you need it? Ultimately, why do you need it?
You see, really, the Monday night should be full, and you could easily do those analysis shows with Carragher and Neville, right? Only they go through every game. Yeah. And they're given basically 2 hours to do it, not 15 minutes. Do you know what I mean? Because people love them, don't they?
I think the only thing with what I'm actually saying is the only comeback would be I think a few of the bigger teams would kick off and say, well, our sponsors are not getting enough. They're not getting enough spotlight, because normally we'd have so many games that is the only game that everyone's watching. But then you go, yeah, mate, another £1 billion, or is another half a billion quid.
Yeah, but they could almost still be all the big games, though.
Well, they could,
can't they? If they,
who's watching Everton versus Forest on Saturday?
Yeah, exactly. Everton fans and Forest fans.
Exactly.
That's it. But no one's really that arsed.
For the sake of the TV deal, you've got to have their own thing in its own spot. Well, this TV deal will go, you don't need that.
You see, the way I look at it, you're right, and that sounds good, but even if they didn't want that much change, if they just wanted to say, okay, well, we want to basically keep it the way it is at the moment, well, all right, keep it exactly the same, but you control it, so everyone buys it, and it's still the same. So this Saturday, we log on to our subscription service, and it's, you know, on Saturday there's games, and we'll go, I'll tell you what, we'll watch Chelsea Leeds. Everton aren't playing till Sunday. I'll watch Chelsea Leeds at 3 o'clock. You go on and do it. No issue with that. A game at 12:30, a game at 4:30 on Sunday afternoon. You could still do it. Yours is a good one because you can have the goals show on both of them, and that's the thing that can pull it in. But you can tinker with that. But you can still make a fuss if they need it of Liverpool and be United. Give them their own time slot. Get all the pundits in, build it up.
Look at the Champions League. The Champions League doesn't need time slots. It has different. It have obviously in the group stages they all kick off at the same time. Exactly, I know you have 2 different nights, but they all kick off at the same time. And then obviously as the tournament goes on, it
just becomes bigger. It
becomes its own thing. But not till like you get to the quarterfinals, that every game may be on its own. So you're going through the big tournament that's bringing in the money from all around the world.
They've got to have it. They've got to. What you should be doing I'm telling this £1 billion business how to do its thing. I'm sat here with a fucking 13-year-old car. But make it as easy and as accessible for everybody. Keep pulling the people in. Surely that's the thing. Keep pulling them in. Like you said, I've got a VPN, a subscription in another country to another bloody TV service just to be able to watch my team play a game of football. Away from home. It's just nonsense. Or people that used to have to go to He's gone and he shut that down. They've gone here and they had, all kinds of people over the years. There was one called bloody Potato TV or something.
But they're stopping us watching a game that we can't watch.
Yeah. That's just bizarre.
It's your product and you don't want me to watch it.
That's
like putting a film out in the cinema and going, no, you can't go.
You can't go
you
to
can't
watch
go.
it, yeah.
And you're like, well, how do I watch it? Well, no, only the people, only these.
But people abroad can watch it.
Yeah, only these 300 people who go in at that particular time
can watch it.
Yeah, and is it ever being shown again? No. Well, it's a live thing, isn't it? Because it's never been shown again. All right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find them. No, you're not allowed to do that. It's like, well,
it is bollocks. It's absolutely
it is mad.
But no, you're absolutely right.